Welcome back. So today, the hot topic, of course, is the one big beautiful bill that has been pushed through the House, and now there are a lot of angry people, including one Elon Musk. So there may be a divorce going on right now. So there's one big beautiful bill, started out as a thing to like cut taxes and increase spending on Border Patrol. Turned out to be something much bigger. It has ballooned up to something huge. And not a whole lot of people agree with it, including Elon. The biggest thing is this will increase the U.S. deficit by almost $5 trillion. Right? So the whole point of the bill was supposed to be reducing spending, right? And also giving breaks to people that need it. But there seems to be a lot more things added to this that's going to make it so that we actually spend more. Our deficit is actually going to go up, and there are a lot of people that are really, really angry. There's a couple of Republicans that said no, only two, I believe, including Rand Paul, and then Trump slams him for not agreeing, not voting. But then Elon comes out and says this is a disgusting abomination. He called out everyone that actually voted for it and said that they should be ashamed of themselves and none of them should be voted in next year. So there does seem to be a divorce now, right? Trump has stayed away, has been very friendly with Elon, and Elon, for the most part, has not really offered any criticism over any of the new administration's agenda, but that is now, now gone, right? So this is the big topic, big hot topic of today. Now, what does that have to do with Bitcoin and crypto? Well, it has everything to do with Bitcoin and crypto, right? So these kind of tax bills, these kind of legislation, they are supposed to be reducing spending, reducing the deficit, reducing how much we have to borrow, reducing how much we have to print, and never leads to that. It always leads to more spending and a higher debt ceiling and more printing and more borrowing. It just seems like it never goes down, right? There's always things that are tacked on and agreed upon and whatever. This is the reason why Bitcoin exists. Because every administration has their own agenda. Every bank has their own agenda. And Bitcoin brings it back to the basics, right? Governed by code, not by greedy people, have a scarcity factor, and you know what? That's it. You don't have anyone apply monetary policy, trying to inflate things more, trying to borrow, trying to do whatever. Bitcoin is pure, controlled by code, but driven by the network that's decentralized and can't be shut down and controlled by any country or entity around the world. So this is an ongoing thing, obviously. And, of course, tariffs, which is still ongoing. Trump announced that steel and aluminum imports, the tariffs will go up from 25% to 50%, right? So all of these things are happening, and they're driving people to Bitcoin. If you haven't picked up that main point yet, please do so. It doesn't matter which side you're on, left or right, or no side at all. If you want to preserve your wealth, you want to put your money into Bitcoin. You want to opt out of what's happening and opt into Bitcoin. It's really that simple. That's why Bitcoin is above 100,000. Why so many states and countries and companies are all adopting it, because one after another, people are realizing things aren't going to change with our government, right? In the US or in Europe, with the EU or any other country out there, things just really don't change. That's why Satoshi said enough is enough, created Bitcoin back in 2008, released in 2009, and has changed so much over the years and now becoming mainstream. California passes a bill, says that, hey, we can now take Bitcoin as payments and donations. That's a step in the right direction, but many other states have already approved a Bitcoin reserve. And California, I think, will be one of those states soon enough. Okay, it just makes sense. Mara Mining, they held all of their Bitcoin that they mined, 950, and they're now the second largest public crypto treasury behind, guess who, Strategy. And Michael Saylor, of course, understands this and continues to buy and load up more and more and more every single week, right? It's really that simple. You HODL and you DCA, and then wait for the life-changing wealth to come to you, or at least financial freedom, okay? Just pay attention to all the macro stuff that's happening. Even if you're not a macro guy, just take a second to think about what I'm saying. And it'll all come together, right? And even though today, we kind of had a decent day, but, we haven't gone up yet. It's just a matter of time. As more people come in and as more money comes in, Bitcoin will move. We already have the M2 money supply, the global liquidity supply going up, and Bitcoin trails it. And pretty soon, you could see, it's not going to trail it much longer. It always follows the same path. And for people that are thinking, well, maybe the top is already in. Now, all the metrics that we have that measures Bitcoin's tops from previous cycles, and we've had many cycles already, not just like one or two. We had 3 previous cycles already. So we have some good data. We're nowhere close to top according to Pi cycle or MVRV, right? So you just have to be patient, continue to HODL, and continue DCA. That's it. DCA for life-changing wealth. Outside of Bitcoin, BlackRock is starting to take interest in Ethereum, starting to buy up a lot of Ethereum for their ETF because a new ETF is coming. A Ethereum staking ETF, which combines staking rewards within. That may be the reason. Ethereum has been quite strong recently, right? So if BlackRock is starting to buy, maybe there's something to it. And others, right? For example, here's a K-12 education company that's raising $900 million to buy Solana. So a lot of people now, a lot of companies, I should say, are starting to load up not just Bitcoin, but alt as well. For example, Solana and ETH too, right? So obviously the space is changing for the better. And again, the moral is have patience, HODL, and DCA. Now, a little bit more news about Trump and his associations. The Trump wallet was released today by the Trump meme coin team. And people thought, well, this is, of course, backed by Trump and his family, right? But there's a little controversy because, Eric Trump came out and said he had no idea that the people behind Trump coin came out with it. Even though 80% of the Trump tokens are controlled by the family, the ones that have created a token, they still hold 20%, and they're still doing stuff like this. So Eric Trump doesn't even know about it. Or maybe he does and he won't admit it. And Trump Jr. also says that he has nothing to do with the Trump coin, right? Recently, there's been a lot of backlash over the family's involvement with crypto, especially their own coin. So now we're starting to see them distance themselves away from some of these new initiatives. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. But one thing is for certain, the landscape for crypto in the US has changed forever and for better. So regardless of their involvement with Trump coin or not, things are changing, and I'm looking forward to the remaining of this year and future years after that. But more importantly, I want to see what happens with this tax bill, with everything that's happening with the tariffs and trade wars and trade agreements and so forth, because I think they are all bringing awareness to Bitcoin and driving more people to Bitcoin, and that's what I want to see. All right, guys, that is it. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.